All right, guys, welcome back to the Clack Shack. And tonight, got this machine that I've been trying to get a video out on, but I was having some difficulties. Come to find out, it was me and not the machine, so that's good news. I ran it last night, did a lot of cuts and engraves, and I've run it some tonight. Haven't had any more issues. The issue that I was having was that during a burn, it would just suddenly stop and would not continue to do the burn. So come to find out, there was a setting that when you set this thing up in light burn, you have to turn off the hard limit switches. So I did that per the instructions I received from the folks that sent this over, and I've got it back going. So before we get started, this machine was sent to me just to try out and do a video with. They're not paying me for it or anything like that, but it was given to me to try out. Now, like I said, first couple of days, I had my doubts about the machine, but once I got that set and straightened out, I've been playing with the focus. I found the sweet spot on the focus. It's doing a pretty good job. So if you want to see what this machine can do, just stick around and I'll show you more about it. All right, guys, I'm gonna be off camera so y'all can see the machine. Tonight's video is more about what this machine can do than it is watching me. As always, guys, I sat down and I played with this thing and I moved it up and down trying to get the smallest dot I could and trying to get it to cut the way that I wanted it to. This machine does not have an air assist, which I think is a big hindrance for it. There's no way to connect an air assist to it unless you get the kit. I'm sure they have a kit that you could add to it, but I don't have an air assist. But I will tell you this, when that fan gets spun up and is running at full speed, it actually kind of serves as an air assist, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But I'm gonna go ahead and just run through some of the particulars about the machine, get that out of the way, so that if you wanna look this thing up, you know, while we're doing this testing, you can look at it and look at the specifications for it and all that good stuff. But this was sent to me and they sent it to me and sent this link. So I'm assuming this is it. And there is something a little buggy about it that I'll tell you. This is a Neje 3 Plus. It is a diode laser, 255 by 420 millimeter workspace. And I've got it set up, and I built myself, I modified one of my jig kits to where it'll hold it still, and I can still use my jigs and stuff with it. So that's pretty decent. The software for this thing that you'd use to update the software, the only thing that the confliction that I have found is that I tried to use the newer software that said it was for the Neje 3, and it would not recognize it. But then I put it on the older version of the software, it recognizes it, and it tells me that this is a Neje 2S Plus, but the information I was sent from the folks that sent it to me says that it's a Neje 3 Plus. I don't know which is which. The module, I will say, this module is the one that is on the Neje 3 Plus. So as far as the rest of the machine goes, I don't think that really matters. The module, to me, is what's important. This machine says that it is a 12 watt output. The Spot is comparable to pretty much all the other lasers that we've seen around here. It uses apparently some type of pulse technology. I will say that the power supply is significantly smaller than what I'm used to, but it does seem to be fairly effective. And it does pretty well. It's not my traditional, what I'm used to as far as the 4-post, but it does pretty well. So I will put links to Neje's website in the description if you want to go look at this thing and look at it for yourself and look at the specifications and do some research or whatever. The price tag on this guy, that's always important. Considering on their website it says it's $389, assuming it ships from the United States, and you get the 12 watt plus pulse dual beam laser module, which is the A40640. And this module it has I took the sticker, or there's a sticker on the back that's got a QR code, and I scanned that, and that is the module. So this is going to be $389, judging from their website. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I've got a little circle set up in Lightburn here, and I'm going to jog this machine out here to it, do a little frame, and then I'm going to cut it. And I have been playing with this thing, like I said, for a few days, so I'm kind of cheating on the settings. I have found that with my material, I like to run it at 6 millimeters per second at 100% output. And I'm going to go ahead and fire that off and let you watch and see what it does here. The only big thing that I can say about this is without air assist, this thing does try to create little flames. And I have adjusted everything I know to adjust, guys, to get that to cut down. And the only thing that I have found is effective is if the fan, once the fan kicks on high inside the module, it keeps them down. But without air assist, I think that's just going to be a cost of doing business with this guy, because I have done everything I know to do to try to keep it from doing it. I have run it faster, I have run it slower, I have tried to pull the focus down, I've pulled the focus up, and it still wants to do it. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. You can see right there, there's a little black, and there was a flame, just a tiny little flame that was licking up as I was trying to engrave this. That flame licked up right there and made that extra little bit of black. Now, I did get a good clean cut coming through the, woo, look out camera, coming through the back side. I mean, I got a good clean cut, not a whole lot of discoloration or anything back there. And I mean, this is relatively, you know, it's not discolored terribly, but like I said, it took me forever to find the sweet spot on the focus on this thing to get it to do that. So I'm gonna put this back down here, and I'm gonna just run a couple more just so we know that this is not a fluke, that this thing will cut 4.5 millimeter Luan in 3 passes, running, and I don't want to waste my material, so let me move that over. Actually, my board got slid over. Right there should be good. All right, so I'm gonna run this one more time, and this is gonna be at 6 millimeters per second at 100% output. And I got it on 3 passes. Now, I will say, they say that they're using some kind of a pulse on this laser. It does actually appear to be pulsing, but I'm pretty sure it's so fast that there's no way I can see it, but it's almost as if you can kind of see it. All right, so that's three passes. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what 2 and 1 looks like before I pick this up. So I'm gonna go ahead and frame that out. All right, I'm gonna back this guy down to 2 passes on this cut and go ahead and run that. Sometimes it will make it through in 2 passes, but I have, I always kind of like to overpower it just a little bit, just to make sure, especially if you're doing something that's kind of small and intricate. You don't want those little snags to hang up on your cut. So that's 2 passes. And then I'm going to move over to the right of that one, guys, and I'm going to do one with 1 pass, and then we'll just kind of look at it and see what it does. There was that little flame that I keep talking about. It tried to lick a little flame there, but then the fan is actually blowing on the machine enough that it kind of put it out for me. So here we go. So that is 3, 2, and 1 pass. As you can see, 3 fell out. So 3 was a through and through, no questions asked, no problem cut. All right, and I'm going to show you what the surface of the material looks like here. Not a lot of scorching. This one, as you can see, actually didn't scorch near as much with the 1 pass, but I'm pretty sure it didn't quite cut all the way through either. So here's your 3 passes, 2 passes, and then 1 pass. So you can see what I mean with 2. 2 will get you through it, but it's not going to be clean. And if that's something really fine, then that's not, you don't want that. This is what you want. So that's why I run the 3 passes with this machine. Now, I know what you're asking. It can cut, but can it engrave? And that's a really good question, because I have been playing with this thing so much, trying to get it to where it cut like I wanted it to, that I haven't done a whole lot of engraving. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my little cut and get rid of that for a second. And I'm going to go ahead and throw, you know what I'm going to do? It's going to be the logo, guys. If I can get it to load. Well, that's my logo. There we go. All right, so I'm going to take the Clack Shack logo. I'm going to bring that in. I'm going to put it in my workspace. And just as for good measure, I am going to add a cut to cut it out on the outer shapes only. And I'm going to set that to where it'll cut this guy out for us once we get done. I did a 1 millimeter cut to the outside. So let me frame this up and see where it's going to go. All right, needs to go up. All right, so this is going to be an engrave followed by a cutout. And I've got the cut set to run 3 passes. I'm going to run the engrave at 100% output at 50 millimeters per second. That's probably going to be a little hot, so let's step that up to 70, because this thing, it is actually, it does seem to be heating it up pretty good. So we'll go with 70 millimeters per second at 100% output for the engrave, and then 6 millimeters at 100% for the cut. Now, I don't want to go too crazy with this thing and have just one big black mess. So I want to try to turn the speed down up just a little bit. But let's let that work, and I'll check back. All right, guys, it's wrapping up on the burn, and the fan just kicked in the overdrive there. So at this point, the fan actually kind of serves as a air assist. And if that fan ran the entire time, I think it would actually help, especially on cuts. But it doesn't, so. And I just saw it drop. So the three passes must have been effective. And I run this just at standard resolution. Let me confirm it to make sure. I hadn't changed anything up, but yeah, I run this at 127 LPI. So there it is at 127 LPI, guys. Give it a good bronze, like brown color to the wood. This is that 4.5 millimeter Luan. This is not a really dark engraving wood, but there is a recess right there where the saw blade is on my logo. So not a bad job, not bad at all. So another test that I want to do with this thing, and this may take a minute, so y'all gonna have to bear with me, is I kind of want to see how it will do on some type of a photo. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to be running that at the same speed I did last cut. I'm going to do the 6 millimeters per second with 3 passes and see how well that works again. And that'll also give you an idea as far as the power. All right, so here we go, guys. This is going to be an image run at 70 millimeters per second, 100% output, and then the cut's at 6 millimeters per second, 100% output. And we'll see how this works. I will be checking back shortly, guys, because this is an image. I'm running the DPI up really high, so I suspect it's going to take a minute. All right, guys, it's finishing up on the engrave, and I'm waiting on it to do the cut. And like I said, since I've changed that setting, made sure the firmware was updated and all that, I haven't had any operational issues with the machine. Like I said, it performs as well as it should. And once I got the focus worked out, other than the definite need for an air assist, I really don't have really anything bad to say about it. And now it was one of the easiest builds I ever did because it comes basically like 80% put together. So if you're one of those folks that are wanting to do lasering and just don't know if you can put one together, I will say this is probably the easiest build I ever did. You just have to put these two ends on right there and basically slide this carriage onto this, make some adjustments, put the feet on it, and it's ready to go. So it was very simple to put together. And you can hear the fan now is wound up and is at its maximum, or at least the highest I've heard it go. And when it does that, it seems to kind of act as an air assist, and it helps with the cut. I wish there was a way that you could go into it and set it to continuous wide open, especially if you just had it to where when it was doing the speed got down to a cut speed, it would come on. That would be great. I'm still intrigued about that air assist module that they sell. So that was the 3 passes, guys, and I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to bump it here. There you go. So I got a clean drop out of it. That's good. So far that speed and those settings is working pretty well for me. And here is the image of I think it's a Basset Hound. Those of y'all that know the short-legged dogs better might can tell a little more about it, but it's an image of a Basset Hound that somebody had sent me, and I removed the background and set it up as an image, and that's what we got. So let me hit it with a sander for just a second, and then that compressed air, and I'll show you what a little bit of a difference it'll make. Sandpaper was a little more aggressive than what I needed, but it still turned out pretty nice. That got the yellowing off of it. That was 120, I think. I probably should have put some 220 on there, but I just grabbed what was on it. But that's the image of the Basset Hound that I wound up getting. So that's it's not a bad image. Like I said, this is like I said, it wasn't a high quality image when I changed it over in Photoshop, but it worked out pretty well. So now I'm going to do some text, and just to show what the light burn text looks like, because a lot of machines don't impress me with the text. So we're just going to do some light burn text, and I'm going to set that to the same speed that I used earlier, which is going to be 70 and 100. And I'm going to move that up, get it in the work area, and see how this goes. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this text I'm going to set this fill to basically fill all shapes at once. So it's going to go from the far left to far right. That way you can kind of see how it maneuvers. All right, there we are. And as you can see, it's holding pretty solid. I mean, you know, a lot of times in some of these lasers, you'll see where the text, the edges are not real refined, or the text is off, and it looks like it's doing a pretty good job on that. So my last test for this thing, guys, is going to be to see how it does cutting out one of my Christmas ornaments. I'm going to lay that guy right here, and we're going to see. This is a pretty decent challenge for a machine. This is a lot of cutting, and I will have to run this 3 passes in order to get the desired effect. But I'm going to use that 70-100 for the engrave. I've got the engrave going first, and it's going to come back and cut it out. This is going to be one of my Silent Night 2-piece ornaments that I make. So I'm going to let that make some smoke for a few minutes, just for the sake of a whole bunch of unused video, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, it got through with the engrave And now we're seeing how it can do at this, this burn, because these are some really fine cut lines here. There's not a whole lot of material between the two, and if this thing doesn't do a really good job, it's not gonna work out. So I'm just testing to see exactly how smooth and clean of a cut you can get on some kind of very intricate cut lines. And so far it looks like it's doing pretty good. So I'll spare you the wait. All right, it's finished up on the intricate part of the ornament, and now it's working on the other half, which is the back part to this set here. And so far, I mean, it looks good. I don't see any burning or anything that would be detrimental to the burn. I will say that the fan, because this is such a lengthy burn, the fan has stayed running, which obviously helps with the whole issue of flames and the machine burning the material. So all in all, it gets a good score on being able to pull this off. Now, it's not going to win any awards on speed because I'm having to run multiple passes, but for 10 to 12 watt, which is what they say that this thing is, using 4.5 millimeter material, it is definitely not terrible. Air assist would tremendously help, I feel, but like I said, that maybe some other day. So now for the moment of truth, guys. Let's see if this thing falls apart or if I have to pull it apart. Okay, so good news is they dropped. So that's a plus. As long as all these little pieces will fall out now, we'll be good. So far that part fell out. And let's see how this goes. Oh, I got a knot on the wood, so I can't really fault the machine for that. There's a knot on the back. I didn't see that. But these little pieces are a bit of a pain if it doesn't cut them all the way out, because you'll break this thing trying to get it apart. That one piece right there, I'll show you what I'm talking about. There's a knot right there by that, on that cut line, and it probably ran a little interference. So I'm gonna have to press that one out a little bit. All right, it took a little pressing and pulling to get this piece to come out, but I managed to do it without breaking the text. So that's some very small text and some fine lines. So that's pretty good score, I would say. Here is the ornament. Looks like I may have cracked the edge of the T just a little bit, but there's the ornament. And like I said, got good color. It didn't set fire to these little tiny pieces of material, which, you know, can happen because this is a very, very thin font. And I was able to get it out without breaking it. So, I mean, I'm going to call that a win for the machine. All right, guys, for any of you that watched my video last night, you see that little spinning thing right there? You know what that means. Yep, there's a fire in there. I threw a few pieces of scrap in there and got me a little heat going, because it is, like I said, I know you guys up in the northern part of the country and some of the other parts of the world that, you know, are used to, you know, 30 degrees below zero. To y'all, this is like swimming weather. But in Alabama, once it gets down into the 40s, we don't like it, okay? 30s, we really don't like it. Anything less than that, we don't even want to talk about it. So it's not a it's not a wintry day as most of you may think, but hey, it justifies building the fire. The shop smells awesome. I put a couple of pieces of black walnut in there, a little bit of oak, so I got that nice campfire smell going with just a hint of like a nutty smell from the black walnut. So it's been a pretty interesting night. Like I said, this machine kind of gave me fits in the beginning. But I can honestly say now, after 2 more days of testing and playing with the machine and just cutting random shapes and doing engraving, that the problem was the setting that I set on there. So if you get one of these guys, you set it up in Lightburn, make sure you turn that hard limits off and go into edit device settings and do it there. So That was obviously the problem. So far, the machine performs the way it should. And I will tell you this, that guys, this machine does have limit switches for when you're homing. Now it doesn't have any on the far reaches, which a lot of them don't. But when you home this machine, as it comes in, it has a limit switch there, and as it goes to the top, it has a limit switch there. And I've played around with the switches, and so far they seem very accurate. And the reason I know that is because when I was having that issue of it shutting down mid-engrave, or I was having to home it and then redo the engrave to get it to finish it, and it was hitting the same lines both times. So I give it a good score on that. Like I said, it was probably the easiest laser assembly ever that I've done so far. Most of the plugs and the wiring and all was already put together. You just kind of had to take it, slide it on that rail, put the two ends on it, and attach the head to it, and you were good to go. So if you're looking for a small, compact, simple to put together machine with the power of a 10 watt, then this might be a machine you want to look at. One of the big disadvantages over what I typically run is the workspace. So if you're needing more than 200 and something millimeters wide workspace, this probably isn't going to be the machine for you. But it will do up to 400 lengthwise. So you could do, cutting boards, small cutting boards and stuff like that. I think you'd have more than enough workspace for that. Engraving, if you're engraving like business cards or dog tags, small stuff like that, then, this machine has plenty of power. The spot size on it and the accuracy of it, I think, would make a good machine for that. But like I said, you're limited to your work area. So just keep that in mind. And but so far, guys, I can't say anything bad about the machine. Like I said, I can say something bad about me setting it up in light burn. That is a lesson that I have learned in setting this one up, is to check that. And I thought that was what it was going to be. I turned it off, tried it a few times, and I thought it still done it, but I think what it was is I forgot to write that over to the machine when I changed that setting. I think I just exited out of it without writing it. Hindsight, looking back, because I went in and checked that, but then when I did it the second time after they told me, then it worked. But I made a conscious effort to make sure that I wrote it back to the machine, to the controller. So, but anyway, guys, I'm going to drop the links that they sent me with the machine in the description below. If you're interested in one of those, you can check them out. And it has all the specifications and everything for the machine that you can look at if you want to read all the sciencey stuff and get the exact numbers. I wasn't really going to spend a whole lot of time doing that. I figure you're on the internet, you can click that link, you can go look at it and make your own decision. But as far as its performance, guys, like I said, you saw it here. It will cut 4.5 millimeter material. I haven't tried to do anything crazy with it. I think probably the 5 millimeter material and less is where you're going to want to stay with this machine, unless you can get an air assist. Air assist, I think, would unlock a whole new level of cutting ability for it, but I don't have one that'll work with it, and so I'm just using it as it was sent to me. But that's going to be it for tonight, guys. I just want to run out here and do a quick video to get this machine done. But that's it for the Neje 3 tonight, guys. I may try to do another couple of videos with it on some engraving and stuff, but that's my general consensus. Compact, easy to put together, it is accurate, has limit switches, powerful enough to cut 4 to 5 millimeter material. The accuracy and controllability of it is good. Limited workspace is going to be your negative, and of course, I'm not really that big of a fan of the three-legged, the two-legged design, because that does afford for a little bit of sway and stuff like that. But it is a lot easier to store, a lot easier to transport, and that type of thing. So there's pluses and minuses for that. But if you hadn't already, guys, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, give me a like, whatever you can do to help get the channel going a little better. I'm exceeding my expectations, but got to keep pushing, guys, got to keep trying for more. And I hope the content you find is helpful, entertaining, amusing, whatever. But if there's anything particular that you got on your mind that you would like to see, feel free to message me on my Facebook page. And if you haven't already, go check out my Facebook page and you can follow that. I do share links of videos and things that I do on the Facebook page as well. And that is the best way to message me if you need to message me directly, is to use Facebook. I've got messages on my website and it's kind of hinky the way it works, so I have a little hard time with that. And of course there's always the email, but the quickest way and the easiest way for me is just to use Facebook Messenger and message the Kayak Shack on Facebook. But until next time, guys, be safe and have a good day.